The Beard, a renaissance. James Harden hitting consecutive three-point baskets in overtime, a domination situation. The kind of performance that if Harden does that in an NBA Finals game, they write books about it. He was that dominant, made a pair of foul shots, scored on also got a basket on a Jimmy Butler goaltending call. He had 39 points, James Harden, and 10 assists. That was the Rockets version of James Harden in that game. Kawhi Leonard, the Toronto Raptors, San Antonio Spur vintage for the People's team. Leonard had 33 points. The Clippers get it done. They win, and they win in overtime, and they're the 5th seed in the Western Conference. They get to play those lightweights from Denver in their first playoff series. And the Warriors, they're on the wrong end of things, which means they are not guaranteed of a play-in spot. And the better story, though, is in the losing locker room. As much as I would like to sit here and wax loquacious about the Clippers and how great James Harden was and all that, nobody wants to hear that. You want to hear the sad sack Golden State Warriors. That's what you want to hear about. You had Steph Curry make a basket strutting, right? He was strutting down the court there. Oh, man, he thought we got these guys. And then they had to play the rest of the game. He didn't have anybody. And he had nothing. Nothing. So the Warriors, who melted under pressure, they had the lead late, had a 4-point lead, and they melted down the stretch. Curry had 36, although he did really nothing the first 3 quarters. Jimmy Butler, 30 points and 9 assists. And that's it. The regular season is over. So let us discuss how big a setback is this loss for Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green, and the Warriors as they now have to go into that play-in tournament. So I've got Fiddle, Pac-Man, and Forrest Gump. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make some sourdough bread. The San Francisco treat, which is, well, just sour. Just very sour there. The Warriors. So this is a myth-buster situation, right? This is a myth-buster situation. That is my number one thought. The aura of the Warriors when they got Jimmy Butler, they had a great record to finish the regular season, but they didn't get Jimmy Butler to still end up in the play-in tournament. That was not the mission when they got Jimmy Butler, and they had everything set up. Golden State had everything you could possibly want. So this is a massive disappointment. All right, this is a massive disappointment. Everything was there. You had home cooking, check. You had that. Warriors were favored. They were 3.5-point favorites in the gambling line. Win, you avoid the play-in tournament. Lose, and you're in it. And Golden State had a 12-point lead in the first half. And there was that point where it was teetering, where if the Warriors go second level, go turbo time, they go up by 25 points, game's over. They didn't have it. They did not have the ability to go turbo time. And they were not turbo-tastic in that situation. And they did have the early body blow by Golden State. So they came out as, all right, they're up by 12, had a body blow. And then the Clippers responded. And the Warriors, because they had home cooking, they fiddled around with their food. You don't fiddle around with your food. They did. And the Clippers kept chipping away. They had a little right hook here, a left hook. And then, in overtime, the Beard said, here's an uppercut. Right to the chin. Boom! Right to the chin. Sure enough. And so Harden had 12 of the Clippers' 13 points in overtime. He was electric. And Jimmy Butler, at the end there, he looked like a pogo stick. He was hopping up and down there at the end of the game. Draymond Green blew a bunny. I'm sure we'll hear about that in his podcast, unless we don't. But, missed a layup. Right there. I could have made that. He missed it. Nobody around. He missed a layup. And you combine this loss, and also a couple days back, the Warriors lost to the San Antonio Spurs at home, a dog food Spurs team. And there's not a lot of razzle-dazzle. Like any razzle-dazzle the Warriors had from winning a bunch of games when they got Jimmy Butler, you lose to the Spurs at home, and you've got a win, and you're in the playoffs, lose, and you're in the play-in, and you can't beat the Clippers. That's a bad job by Golden State. Now, you can spin it any way you want, but that's not why they got Jimmy Butler. and all that stuff. And there's no time for a pity party because right back at it. Another thing that's ridiculous in the NBA, you play 82 games. It's an 82-game play-in tournament to decide who makes the playoffs. And then you add a couple extra games just in case somebody gets hurt because you want more content. And so the NBA play-in tournament will begin on Tuesday. The 7-seed Memphis will travel to Northern California to take on the Warriors in San Francisco there. And that's that. Now turning the page, we've got former NBA player Patrick Beverley, who has entered the chat. Bev, the glue guy for the Clippers. Now, he said prior to the Clipper-Warrior game that the winner of that game on a lazy Sunday afternoon, the winner of that matchup was winning the championship. So how does that sound to you? That's what he said it. I didn't say it. He said it. Patrick Beverley said it. All right, so certainly some edgy commentary from Beverley, who I don't think he'll probably play in the NBA again. He played overseas and whatnot here. And from Beverley's lips to the NBA scriptwriter's ears is what I would say, right? Why not? And the Clippers are certainly more than capable of winning the championship, and they've been in this position where they have the talent to win a championship for about a decade now. Most of the time, they've been good enough to win a championship, but inevitably, the car breaks down. The car breaks down. The engine doesn't work right. The brakes don't work. At some point, if it's not one thing, it's something else here. So I've determined, after a minutes-long Maller deliberation, that the richest owner in American sports, Steve Ballmer, needs to go Pac-Man. They need to go Pac-Man. Now, old arcade game Pac-Man. Get your hands on those power pellets. You know those little power pellets? And Pac-Man eats the power pellet, and then he flips the script. And then all of a sudden, because Pac-Man ate the power pellet, he can then he's invincible. And he can then eat those annoying little ghosts that usually chase him. And now all of a sudden, he's eating them. And they got to go to that little penalty box in the middle of the screen. The Clippers need a power pellet. They need a Pac-Man power pellet for Kawhi Leonard. Get him on the court, and they are going to be in the Final Four and likely the NBA Finals and the whole thing here. And you really set up pretty good. You got a disheveled Nuggets team that hate each other. They got the coach fired. Michael Malone in Denver. It's a total mess. They got a nerd, King Dork, as the interim coach, Adelman's kid. So they don't know what the hell they're doing there. You got playoff Westbrook. So all the Clippers have to do is leave him open to shoot three-pointers. The Nuggets will feed him the ball. He'll lose. He'll miss them. And so you get by them, and maybe you play Oklahoma City. Who knows? Oklahoma City won all these games and all that. They could lose in the first round. Right? Whoever's the 8th seed, they could end up losing to whether Memphis or Golden State, if one of those two teams is the 8th seed. I wouldn't be shocked if Oklahoma City loses. And if the Clippers get there, they can beat them. So you're set up. All right, last thing here. The final part of this winding road. So the looking around situation, as we have now gotten to a fork in the road, we are done with the regular season at the play-in tournament, and then the regular season building up to the playoffs, which will be this weekend, the playoffs this weekend. So what early playoff matchups intrigue you the most? What early playoff matchups intrigue you the most? So we don't know all the matchups yet. There's only 4 that we know, 2 in the East and 2 in the West because of the ridiculous play-in tournament. But of those, upset alert, upset alert, upset alert, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Lakers. Anthony Edwards has a chance to exterminate Hookah Luka right away in the playoffs, and the Lakers they're right there. They're plump for the taking. And during the regular season, Minnesota was 2-2 with the Lakers. Now, the one thing that scares you is they don't play any defense. Neither the Lakers. Neither one's a good defensive team. But that is a juicy opportunity for Ant-Man. If he can stop knocking up women for a few days and go out there and get it done, then he'll be in good shape. Now, the Wolves are a bipolar team. But I've noticed from watching random NBA games during the course of the season that there are mostly bipolar teams in the association. That's a league filled with bipolar teams. There's a lot of Forrest Gump. A lot of Forrest Gump out there. You never know what you're going to get. Like a box of chocolates here, there, and everywhere. Inconsistent performances are the norm, at least during the regular season. And these teams, many of them have been brilliant at times, but they're not consistent, pathetic at other times. And so it makes it unlike years ago when you kind of knew what you were going to get going into a playoff situation. Not quite the case. That said, much like the NCAA tournament, when in doubt, go with chalk, Chalky McChalk. Now, in the East, of the matchups that we know, the one that you're circling right away is the upstart Pistons, who should not win a playoff series, but the Knicks are a hot mess. They've got issues. You've got Cade Cunningham and Jalen Brunson on the other side for the Knickerbockers, that matchup. Detroit did win the regular season series 3-1 over New York. So will the Knickerbockers pull the old Tracy Morgan and puke all over the court at Madison Square Garden in that series? And then you look around, and it's like this. You got a lot of the play-in stuff. I mean, there's not a lot there. There's only one play-in game that you're like mildly interested in, and that's to see what happens with Golden State and Memphis. But that's it. Does anyone care about Kings and Mavericks? I don't. Bulls and Heat? PU, what stinks? And even the Magic and Hawks matchup, that's the 7-8 matchup in the East, that doesn't really do much for you.